Hey everyone! Anyone around? Hey, anyone around? Looks like I've got one viewer, and not sure who you are. Did a live stream last night, and yeah, to be honest with you, I'm still getting to grips with using this streaming software. So if you're watching this and you can hear me, can you just drop me a comment for me? That'd be really helpful. So yeah, if anyone can hear me or actually see me, just say something to me. Like I said, I can't see what's going on. I'm new to this. First time tuning in, I can see and hear you all wicked. Oh, Jamie, I think you commented a couple of days ago on one of my videos. I'm not actually sure. Of course, there's lots of Jamers around, and it's not actually until recently I realised just how many there was. But yeah, lots of Jamers around. So, yeah, I'm going to give it maybe another few more minutes because I kind of put this up at short notice, I suppose. But last night I did a live stream about 12:30, and obviously I've got a big fan base in America. So if I start doing live streams late, then it just means that wider audience can see me. And I thought, you know what, let's actually do it for the UK tonight. And yeah, big Amiga fan here, actually. I'm not sure, Jamie, if you've seen it, but I've actually got a dedicated Commodore channel, um, Commodore Rediscovered. I don't upload to it too often, to be honest. I'm looking at making some more videos on that. And if you're into Commodore, I've got a whole Commodore playlist for retro emulation. That is, I've done WinUA, FSUA, Vice Emulator. I've even done Yape Commodore Plus 4. I'm a big Commodore nut. So, hello Weeble, how are we doing? You okay? So, yeah, I thought, I'm a big Commodore fan, like I say, and I thought, let's actually get a Commodore audience together who's got a big love for Commodore. So, at the moment, I've been tinkering around with my Commodore Maxi. So, you know, most most people have probably seen a mini, but these aren't too common like the minis, I don't think. And these are superb, probably the best thing next to a mini. Very good stuff, and even sounds like a mechanical keyboard in these things. Very cool stuff. And for my Scottish Amiga fan, Jamie, I've got the Amiga 500 Mini. So don't have a real machine. Uh, Go into resurrect my Amiga 1200. That's a spirit. The Amiga 1200s, man, they rocked. They looked lush and, yeah, personal favourite. I wish Retro Games Limited would actually produce a 1200 Mini or a 1200 Maxi. And of course, we got a 500 Maxi coming out by Retro Games Limited this year at some point. So that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, I tell you what. Cool. Nice one. I tell you what, there's a hell of a lot of homebrew games coming out on the Amiga nowadays. I've seen like a resurgence in bedroom coders, that type of thing, doing new Amiga games. One of the series I particularly like is called Box, and I think there's 4 or 5 Box games, BOXX, and they're awesome Amiga games, like really good. They're well worth checking out. Um, itch.io website also does a lot of homebrew games where people upload their C64 games, Amiga games, that type of thing. So obviously you've got publishers, Cytronic Software. I think they've done a couple of Amiga games in the last few years. So yeah, what's everyone doing today? What's everyone doing tonight apart from watching me? Normally I do like a Retrobat live session, but I thought, you know what, I'm a big Commodore fan, and I know I've got a lot of Commodore subscribers on here, so I thought, let's just give it a go, see what the turnout's like. So yeah, Jamie, Scotland. I actually went to Scotland last year with my partner. Went to Edinburgh. It's my first time in Scotland, and dude, I love that place. And I'm actually only a few hours away from Scotland. Really, I'm actually in Yorkshire, North Yorkshire. I don't sound like I'm from Yorkshire, but I am. I'm actually from down south, down in Bristol. But I moved up to Yorkshire 5 years ago, and Jesus, what an entrance coming into Scotland, seeing the hills, the snowy mountains, which was absolutely beautiful stuff. My mum and dads were asking me for years prior to that to go up to Scotland with them in their motorhome. And I'm like, no, man, I don't want to be going out with my mum and dad in their motorhome. You know what? You say the Atari ST like it was a bad thing, but in actuality, it turns out that when the Amiga first released, I think it was the 1000 model, the Amiga was so ahead of its time, people didn't actually know what to do with it. So, in that respect, the Atari ST won the battle. Apparently, it's easier to develop for. That just goes to show how far ahead Commodore was at the time. See if my over 1000 backups still work. Weeble, is that a floppy disk or just ADF files you got? You know what? You might have only had an Atari ST when you was a kid, Jay, but I had a C64 and I loved it. Uh, oh no, I love my ST, not this in it. Yeah, you know what? I've always had a soft spot for Atari ST. Yeah, anything else Atari. My mum and dad in the late 70s, they had an Atari 2600. Of course, they were very popular, and that was as far as it goes. Yo, Kenneth, I'm surprised to see you here. I was just saying to the people I've got watching at the moment that I did a live stream late last night, about 12:30 in UK time, and I thought let's actually do one a bit earlier for the UK crowd. Yes, Scotland's man. Awesome. We're planning on coming up again. All right, Donovan, how we doing, man? So, yeah, you know what, people? My partner, she's actually in London at the moment, and I thought I'd do this live stream. Bit bored, to be honest with you. She's gone down London to watch Take That. Now, most of you here probably know Take That, Oran. And believe it or not, Take That, they're still a thing. Whether you like it or not, they're still around. I got the invite, but I kindly refused, so she's gone with her friend instead. Oh, you got floppy disks. Yeah, Donovan, I'm pretty good. I was just saying, I'm a bit bored to be honest with you, so I thought I'd do a live stream and get together with some people who follows my videos. And yeah, that's the point of this live stream. It's like, what do we want to talk about? New Commodore 64 games, new Amiga games, classic stuff. Is anybody here using GameBase? If you're not sure what GameBase is, I did it. It's a setup guide. Let me just show you what GameBase 64 is. I'm sure some of you here is probably aware of this. It's pretty much a front end. GameBase.exe. And here we go. This is GameBase. So if we go to view just here, category window, if I just put this onto years, I can select a C64 game, by year. So let's go for 2015. Lots of 8-bit goodness here. Very good stuff. And looks like I've got a lot of Amiga fans here, actually. There's actually an Amiga game base as well. So, should we play a game? Is there anything anyone wants to see? As you can see, I've got pretty much the whole C64 collection there. Hello, bad vibes. Please don't bring any bad vibes in here, though. You know what I mean? Just so, yeah, going back to backups. If you've got real floppy disks, Jesus, in the past I've had piles and piles of Amiga floppy disks in there. They're a pain, but nowadays, if you've got real Amiga hardware, we've got different USB drives. Let's see. Uh, GoTech. GoTech is quite a cheap alternative. Rather than using a CF card inside a real Amiga, you've actually got GoTech drives, I think they are. Yes, please play a game. Let's take a look. What have we got? You know what? Is there actually anything Commodore 64 wise you want to see? Because there's loads, and you know one of my personal favourites is Flimbo's Quest, and I'm not a big fan of that on any other platform. Though the Atari 800 just had a port of that, and it seems okay. Yes, quite possible, Weeble. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit, I wouldn't say sick of playing old school classic Amiga games or C64 classic games, but I've just played them to death, and it's nice to see brand new games coming out. So I'm not sure if you was there a minute ago, but I was mentioning an Amiga game called Box. Let me just take you to this website that I use. You might have seen this on some of my videos. This is itch.io, and itch.io really is a cool website. If I was to type into the search bar, say Commodore Amiga, you got loads of new homebrew, I suppose, Amiga games come up, and this is where I found the game Box. We've even got some sort of beer edition of Bomb Jack just here, and here's Box. It's such a cool game; it really is worth trying. Very addictive. So yeah, I think this one downloads an ADF file. So, well worth checking out. And also on itch.io, if I was to type in, say, C64, again, you know, you've got loads of different releases here from the German publisher Protovision with their Sam's Journey, which has just been ported onto Nintendo NES, I believe. And we also got some Sidetronic games and Thalamus Digital games. We also got Sarah Jane Avery modern day C64 games. And if you've not tried it, for God's sake, try Nightingale. What a classic game. Came out around 2009 by Sidetronic, and it got me back into Commodore again, Nightingale. What a great title. Yo, Castovo. Bomb Jack Beer Edition is great. I've not tried it, Jamie, to be honest with you. And let's see, Donovan. I am not familiar with Commodore games, really. You got loads, right? Let's just put it like this, Donovan. You don't have Commodore consoles because they pretty much failed massively when they came out. We had the Amiga CD32. That was meant to be a 32-bit console, but yeah, it was just an Amiga computer, pretty much just disguised as a console. And in fact, that was Commodore's last system before they went in 1994. And we also had a console version of the Commodore 64, and that was known as the C64 GS. Again, just like the CD32, there was no point, and it was a major flop. Yeah, I'll probably have a go at that at some point, Jamie, to be honest. Right, okay, let's do a little bit of Flimbo's Quest. Flimbo. Where are we? So, Flimbo's Quest is by Cytronic Software. I was actually talking to Boys About Brains about 10 years ago, who developed for System 3 at the time, Flimbo's Quest. And I managed to get hold of one of them, Lars, his name was. And I tried getting him to do a sequel, getting the team back together. Just wouldn't have it at all. So, never mind. He sent me some exclusive artwork with the plans they were going to do for Flimbo's Quest 2. And yeah, for some of you out there who probably not aware, I had my own Commodore publishing house, Flimsoft, released a few games for it, and yeah, it wasn't too bad. Okay, so System 3, and where's Flimbo? So yeah, for the viewer who doesn't know Commodore games, Commodore 64, you might know, it's got a music or a sound chip inside called SID. Came out in 1982, and if it wasn't for the rush of the C64's release, the SID chip actually had the ability to be more powerful and a lot better than what it actually was, and it's still regarded today as one of the best sound chips around. I think actually it's one of those things you either love it or hate it. Very unique to C64. So C64 games, pretty much they're cracked, and you also get screens like this. These are called trainer screens. Trainers are pretty much cheats, and most games which are cracked, the entirety of the C64 library, you'll get trainer screens like this. Personally, I don't like cheating at all, so infinite lives, no. Infinite time, no. And I'm just going to set my controller up, if I can get to that. Yeah, man. The Acorn Electron, what a classic. Was that Science of Cambridge? Did the BBC as well. Yeah, proper classic British computers, that. Oh no! So, yeah, this is Flimbo's Quest. This is my absolute... Oh, shizer. This is my absolute top favourite C64 game. I've got a tattoo of Flimbo as well, but I'm not going to get that. It's on my arm. Massive Flimbo fan. I think it's probably because it was pretty much the first computer game I ever played, and this one came on a 4-game cartridge with the C64 pack called Playful Intelligence, which my mum and dad bought for Christmas for me in Tandy, in a place called Downend in Bristol. And the 4-game cartridge had this on it. It had International Soccer, which was just absolutely diabolical. Let me just say it was no FIFA. It also had Fiendish Freddy and Clax. What a cartridge, man. So if you're new to Flimbo's Quest, you said you're new to Commodore games, this one actually came out on the Amiga as well, which looks nicer, but I think the music on the C64 version is nicer. Also came out on the Atari ST as well. Donovan, yeah, what I'm using right now, it's a program called GameBase. What I could do is link, let's see, I could probably link you so you could do this yourself. So we got the GameBase 64, which is the front end, and the emulator, which is playing this right now, is called Vice. Vice is pretty much the best C64 emulator you'll get. But yeah, I've done a video on GameBase. If you check out my playlist, Donovan, it's, bear with me. Yeah, the GameBase 64. I think it's in my various front-end guides playlist. Yes, it is, alongside with Amiga GameBase. But, yeah, Donovan, if you're into Commodore, or rather you want to get into Commodore, check out my playlist. I've also got, let's see, I've got a whole playlist I created. It's called Most Popular C equals videos. C equals is just a little logo type thing for Commodore. So yeah, the idea of this game anyways is just go through each screen, and what you got to do is search for the monster which is flashing in the center in the square. When you see that monster on the playing field, you just shoot it, it drops a scroll, and then you take it back to that wizard looking person. So each level obviously gets harder and harder as the game progresses. But in this first level, I think there's 3 scrolls to collect. And yeah, I just missed him there. He is flashing away. Flashing away. Well, you know what I mean. Yeah, Sensible Soccer. I think that was by the same people it did Cannon Fodder. I'm pretty sure it was. Making notes there. Honestly, Donovan, if you're new to Commodore stuff, you got a lot to learn with that. There's, you know, the Amiga computers in itself. There's the Amiga 1000, the Amiga 500, Amiga 600, Amiga 1200, Amiga 4000, did I say? You got the Amiga CD32. You've also got AGA chip, which pretty much means particular Amiga games look better. The AGA chip is actually only on the Amiga 1200 computer. Cheers, Stas. And yeah, for Commodore 64, Donovan, you got the bread bin, which is yeah, the first model of the Commodore 64. There's also other variants. It's like there's a variant of the bread bin Model 1 Commodore 64 for Germany. I think it was called the C64G. I think it was. After the bread bin Model 1 C64, you then had a C64C, which was the next model. There's also the Commodore 128, which came out in 1985, is almost like a successor to the C64, but it didn't quite take off. But the Commodore 128 was, well, 128 kilobyte of RAM, pretty much that's what it meant. You had 2 modes on it. You could use the Commodore 128, and you could switch it to the C64 as well. Micropro Soccer, yeah, man. And yeah, another system to mention for Commodore is, of course, the Commodore CDTV, which was pretty much a glorified Commodore Amiga 500. But I think Commodore had a history of putting new cases on things, but using old hardware to make it look like it was something new. Yeah, there is, Donovan. There's a hell of a lot of Commodore machines out there, and there's even modern day stuff. I can't think off the top of my head. The Ultimate 64, I think it's called, is pretty much a brand new motherboard, but you're looking at a lot of money for one of those. And what you can do is put chips in it, and you can buy reconstructed chips or burn your own chip files onto microchips put into the Ultimate 64. Yeah, Stas. So apart from Retrobat, I do other emulation setup guides. You might have seen Launchbox, Retroarch, Batocera. I do loads. SS64, yeah, that I got a feeling that was the first, I might be wrong, the world's first portable computer. I had one a few years ago. It's got a disk drive in it, and I'm pretty sure I repaired the disk drive. It wouldn't spin. But it's a lovely looking machine, but good God, man, that was heavy. I bet you was. You know what? You're obviously a lot older than me, Charles, but I was actually born in 1983, and my first C64 was 1990. Pretty much, I missed, the true greatness of the commercial years, I suppose, of C64 during the 80s, but yeah, what do you do? Yeah, absolutely Weeble. God's absolute classic game. God's actually got a remaster or some sort of reboot a little while back, but it wasn't too good. The Chaos engine, I actually found out there's somebody porting it to the C64. I did a video on it a little while back. It's actually surprisingly really impressive for the C64, especially that techno beat music. Music is drive me up the wall. So, the game Gods, Jesus, man, that game was challenging. DX64, I'm not sure. DX64, you know what? You got me thinking now. Do I know what this DX64 is? DX64, Commodore. DX. Was that an actual official release? And yeah, by the way, we also got the Commodore 65 as well. Of course, that one never materialized. And if you're fortunate to have a Commodore 65, which is just here, as you can see, this random Google image, prototype, sells for nearly $39,000 on eBay. And that was going a while back. I remember this story. I think there's about 10 at best of the C65 prototypes in existence. But you've also got the Mega 65, and that's pretty much a brand new Commodore computer. A lot like what Retro Games Limited, I suppose, did with the Mini and the Maxi C64. International Soccer on the cartridge, yeah, on the black 4-game cartridge, which was actually originally, I think, for the C64 GS. I might be wrong. So, yeah, in terms of emulation for Commodore stuff, yeah, definitely for anyone who wants help or support, I've got a playlist just here, standalone micro emulation guides. The other day, actually, I uploaded an emulator front end called FSUAE, which is a branch or a fork rather of WinUAE, and it's very good. Check that one out. I released it a couple of days ago. FSUAE, very, very good front end. So yeah, I got the playlist here for Commodore stuff, which is most popular C Commodore videos. I also got another playlist here called Mini Consoles, and I've got the Amiga Mini in there, different setup guides for that, and I've also got C64 Mini and Max C setup guides. So where is everyone? We got one of my usual people here, which follows me on my live streams from Detroit. And you'll have to excuse me, I forget your name. Kenneth, Michigan, yeah. Michigan, that is Detroit, or Detroit is Michigan. You have tutorials for Retrobat with Commodore, Atari, Pegasus, and PS1 Amazing. Yeah, I do. For Retrobat, specifically, I've done Commodore CD-TV and CD32. I've done Amiga, it's like Amiga 500 for Retrobat. I've also done the Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, and ST. And I did Atari 800s for Retrobat Setup Guide the other day. Yeah, Donovan. Literally, I uploaded the Amiga FSUAE emulator setup guide a day ago. So yes, free down from the top. But let me also just remind you, Donovan, the thing is with Amiga emulation is that a lot of people can get confused by it. It's not particularly the easiest emulators to set up. A lot of people dread WinUAE, but FSUAE, which you're going to check out, is actually not as bad as some. Like I say, to me, WinUAE, the Amiga emulator WinUAE, is a lot like Retroarch. I think you either love it or hate it. Very technical stuff. In WinUAE emulator is probably, well, it is the best. I'll say it's the best you'll get for Amiga emulation. Oh, Coventry, down south. I was saying just now to my Scottish friend, I'm actually in North Yorkshire. I sound like a southerner because I am a southerner, but I moved up north from Bristol about 5 years back. And funny enough, I was in the local shop the other day and I bumped into a woman. Not sure why, but she started speaking to me actually, and she noticed my southern accent, and she did mention she was from Coventry. Yeah, Donovan, give it a go. If you need any extra support on that, just drop a comment in the video. And, like most of my setup guides, I try my best to keep them as simplified as possible. Tony Willen. Cannot beat Tony Willen. Tony Willen. What's that again? Whoa. Oh, WinUAE, yeah, it's superb and it's used a lot. And if it's not WinUAE, it's Amiberry, which is also very good. Oh, Barnsley. Is Barnsley? Is that Sheffield, on the outskirts of Sheffield? So, yeah, Donovan, I pretty much said all there is to say about Commodore. Commodore actually started off really with the Commodore Watch, I think, in the 70s, and it then went on to the Commodore PET, and there's a few different versions of the Commodore PET, wasn't a game system. It was pretty much just an office computer, literally called Commodore PET. But there was games for it, and there's actually a fairly active community today writing games for the Commodore PET. So it's one of those monochrome screens, like an Amstrad CPC screen, green and black. I can't think what the technical name is. That's okay, Stasek. No worries. You know what? My English isn't too good. I'm Bristolian, so that's how bad my English is. To be honest, Giles, I didn't actually know that. I know the Amiga's got a following all over Europe, in fact, all over the world, and it could be Finland or Sweden that there's an Amiga or a C64 demo party each year. I did some videos a while back on my channel for that, but somewhere in Europe. Yeah, slightly north of Sheffield. Now, I was really curious about Barnsley because there's actually a fairly new Commodore 64 game called Barnsley Badger, and that was by Cytronic Software. It came out around 10 years ago, and I always wondered where Barnsley was. Is it a place? And yes, uh, like you say, north of Sheffield. I was actually in Sheffield with my partner a little while back for the filming of Gladiators, which is obviously made a comeback. Awesome stuff. And I was speaking to a couple of locals up there, and we was talking about the 1980 Fred's film. If you've not watched Fred's, good God, man, that's a shocking film. So, something else I want to say about Commodore is some of you might have seen it, some of you might not have seen it. A developer actually contacted me probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and he gave me a free code for his program, which he's working on called Breadbox. I'm pretty sure that's under my micro emulation playlist. And Breadbox, it's almost like an emulation simulation where you actually get to pick up a floppy disk and insert it into the disk drive. You actually use your cursor to turn the monitor on and then turn the Commodore on. It goes as far as actually putting an 8-pin joystick into the 8-pin port on the side of the Commodore. So if you're interested in a true simulator for C64, check out that Breadbox video. It's very cool. So yeah, like I said at the start of the video, yeah, I just want to get a Commodore community together, like I've been saying little while back. I know I've got a big Commodore audience, but I can't actually decipher if my Commodore fan base is in America or in this country. I've got a fair few Commodore fans just here by the looks of it. But looking at my analytics in YouTube, I can see my biggest subscribers who subscribe to my channel are actually in America. I'm using C64 and Amiga forever. Absolutely superb stuff. Uh, yeah, really good stuff. I always urge people to use Amiga forever. People was always worming around for free ROMs, Kickstart ROMs, that type of thing. It's like, just do yourself a favor and go to the Amiga Forever website and just buy a premium. It's so good, and I really can't recommend that program enough. Yeah, I think wasn't. Yeah, yeah. Sorry. Yeah, very good. I don't think Amiga or C64 Forever has actually had an update for quite some time, or I could be wrong. To be honest, I've not really checked into it for a little while. Maybe I should. Yeah, there's so much going on in the world of Commodore nowadays. It's probably technically just as busy now with developments as it was back in, say, the early 90s. Although it's not so out there nowadays, Commodore stuff. Obviously, everything's Xbox and PlayStation. But anyways, peeps, I'm gonna love you and leave you. What I was hoping for is some more people actually. Yeah. But anyways, thanks for watching. And at some point, I'm going to do another live stream. I think maybe next time I should keep it to Retrobat or some theme like that, so I could do some setup guides, that type of thing. Oh, Cyber Delete, yo man. So yeah, I'm really sorry, but I'm going to be off now. But if you're interested in live streams, what I'm going to plan to do is do another one over the weekend. So it's obviously Thursday today. You know what? Just as I go, everyone's coming. Uh, hello, buddy. Sup, Jamie? Bless you for your videos. It's okay. I actually enjoy doing them. You know, it gives me something to do, and that's what I do nowadays. I'm actually a teacher. I've got what's called a PGCE. And to be honest, I didn't really want to teach children, teenagers, that is, not nowadays. So, you know, I put my teaching skills into doing something I really like, all the computer stuff. Did you get my batch for M3U files in your live video from yesterday? I don't think I did, to be honest. Hey, no worries, Weeble. So, yeah, for those who's there listening now, I'm going to do something over the weekend. And what I'm going to do is do some sort of a setup guide. Maybe do something like a live setup guide. What do you all think about that? Like a setup guide for a system where it's actually live. Hey, Donovan, I ain't going anywhere. Hey, Retrobat crashes on boot now. Okay. Retrobat crashes on boot. Have you updated your graphics card at all, bud? Tell you what, bud. I'm using OBS. Here we go. Wherever you are. Yeah, I've got OBS. It's a very good program. I've been using this for a long time. After intro and collections, it crashes. Oh. Right. Have you, very briefly before I go, have you got a NVIDIA graphics card by any chance, bud? Yeah, then Donovan, I'm going to make it happen. Maybe, you know, maybe I could do a Retrobat live tutorial for a particular system. Maybe I'll drop something in the community, drop a community post. Okay. If you've updated your graphics cards, bud, and you've got NVIDIA by the sounds of it, there's a little tray. Let me just very quickly, before I go, you've got a 1060. Before I go, let me just show you something. Where's my NVIDIA control panel? Okay, so this is for Bud. Just going to show Bud something here. This is NVIDIA control panel. If you've got this, what you need to do, and I'm not going to promise you a miracle over this, but it's worth having a go. If you open up control panel, go to program settings, and just here, select a program to customize. If you go to add, and once add opens, if you just find the shortcut to Retrobat, and I've got a few things going on at the moment with my computer, so it's been very slow. But what you need to do, here we go. What you need to do is just find your Retrobat shortcut and add select program. And then select a preferred graphics processor for this program. You need to select the high performance NVIDIA processor. Your integrated graphics just means perhaps your CPU, so make sure you go for NVIDIA if that's what you're using. And then once you do that, it's worth taking a look at some of these settings. I recommend going to vertical sync and making sure use global is off. Once you've done this, go to apply and then open again. Like I say, it's not a guaranteed fix, but using the NVIDIA control panel is sometimes underrated and it can do wonders sometimes. But so, like I say, Bud, by no means is that a definite fix, but it's worth a little go, definitely. But anyways, until next time, everyone, stay retro.